Hello everybody, it's Walter from the Property Tribune. Today I'm here with Cath, the CEO from REIWA. We are going to look back to her first couple of months at REIWA, and then we're looking a bit forward as well. Cath, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem at all. Well, let's go straight into it. It's been an interesting first 6 months, that's to say the least, so I'm sure you have some very interesting stories to share with us. So before you started, REIWA appointed you and announced that appointment, but only a few months later you actually started. So in that lead-up time, how do you experience it? How do you look back? How do you enjoy the support of the industry that you received during that time?
Look, I have to say, I received just such a wonderful and warm welcome from the industry. I think my LinkedIn melted down with messages and new connections from people across all of WA's real estate sectors, residential, commercial. I'd obviously previously been at the Housing Industry Association, and so kind of had some connections with people who are already in the development industry and the building industry as well. So it was, it was a wonderful warm welcome, and from the team itself at REIWA, there was a real, very wonderful positive energy from them. I came in, I met with them and met with the exec team here to introduce myself, and I do remember going home and saying to my sister, I think I've just gotten the best job in WA. So it was really wonderful.
Good. And then you started, and I had to write them down because there's been so many things that happened. I can't remember. Our borders opened, COVID-19 restrictions were eased, we had the federal election, the residential rental prices, interest rates increasing for the first time since 2010. At the moment we have more COVID cases than ever before in our state. That's a lot.
It's what I think we would call an issues-rich environment, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So lots and lots on, and I guess that's the wonderful thing about being an advocate for business, is that it is so dynamic, and associations such as REIWA, they're able to add a lot of value to members when we are in these kinds of environments, because we can provide that information and support, and I suppose analysis about what a change in federal government means, what increases in interest rates will mean. It's I love operating in that kind of context, and it's never a dull moment.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Not in real estate, to say the least. We've looked back to you're starting at REIWA, but I'm sure you have some plans looking to the future as well. So what do you predict for the next 3 to 6 months?
Look, I think there's a couple of really interesting things on foot at the moment. One of the really big issues for industry in WA is the review of the Rental Tenancies Act that's currently underway. There's some contemplation of some changes that would have already been introduced in other states, for instance, and we've seen how they've gone, and so we're very concerned that government take a thoughtful approach to this, and government have been very good in terms of engaging with us at the highest levels. We've been able to make the case for a cautious approach to this contemplated reforms, and the reason being that we've got, as you mentioned, a rental crisis in WA, with the vacancy rates been persistently low at around 1% for many years now. We're slowly starting to see some investors come back into the WA market, but not at the pace that we would need to house all the people who are looking for accommodation. And so our message is pretty clear to government, is that, one of the things WA needs most at the moment is people who are willing to own a house that they'll have someone else live in. So we need to encourage investors back into the market. We need to be very cautious about any kind of regulatory reforms that would discourage them. So that's kind of a huge priority for us, and we've been very engaged with the membership on that. we're hoping we can give them an update, kind of in the next couple of months on the outcomes and where we might land on that.
Okay.
Interest rates, obviously, the market itself, everyone has kind of been watching closely. I think in Western Australia, as the Premier said the other day, we've got the highest average wage and the lowest average mortgage. So you wouldn't really want to be anywhere else. You certainly wouldn't, Sydney, where the median price is, I think, 1.6 million. That, there's going to be some pain there. WA, I think, we are the most affordable state in the country. So I think that the interest rate impact will be moderated here. And I think the other thing is we're seeing the classic situation for our state where, WA is very out of cycle with the East Coast, and so, interventions by the Reserve Bank kind of sometimes impact us a little differently. So we'll be watching closely what happens in the market as well.
All right. Interesting that you mentioned the review of the Residential Tenancies Act. My background is the commercial one, and I know that the Commercial Tenancies Act is under review as well. So where does REIWA stand on that one?
Yeah, great question. And one of the things that we're looking to do is to enhance our engagement with the commercial agents, and so we're also working on the review of the Commercial Tenancies Act, because that one will be quite big in terms of some of the suggestions there around break lease provisions, some of the consequences of how government's seeking to address COVID, the responses to COVID. So we've been engaging with our commercial agents on that as well, and having kind of a few high-level meetings with some of the bigger agents, the commercial agents in WA, to get their feedback more directly.
Okay, excellent. Okay, perfect. So what should we expect over the next couple of years, looking a little bit further ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the things that I'm really keen to do is to see REIWA increase its profile in terms of our advocacy and engagement with government. It's a fantastic organisation. REIWA.com is, it's quite unusual for a not-for-profit industry association to have such a wonderful offering as that. That not only supports its membership, but is also, well regarded and well utilised by the community, and it really enhances the strength of the institute. So the opportunity is for us to kind of step into a really sophisticated digital advocacy space, and to look at what the best practice is around the world in terms of making the case for members of the institute, so that they can get on working in their businesses, and we can help them. We can help make the case to government to have the right settings for them.
All right, excellent. Sounds good. All right. You mentioned before that you're looking to strengthen your position for commercial agencies. So so you said before you're connecting with other agencies. Is there anything else that you're doing to embrace commercial a little bit more?
Look, it's interesting. I think from what I understand, the Institute previously had probably more of a St George's Terrace commercial agent influence at the council level, and council's a democratic process, so the membership votes for who they want to see representing them. We would like to see more representation from the commercial agents in terms of the elected officials as well, but again it is up to the membership, so we're looking at encouraging them to get involved. Obviously we've got our network that they're involved in as well. The commercial tenancies is probably one of the key issues, but equally looking at how we revitalise the city of Perth, get foot traffic back into the city, so that those, that all of those tenancies in the CBD, have kind of, what would I say, become more vibrant and reactivating our city post-COVID. Obviously they've that's really impacted those CBD tenancies a lot. And you know, I think the other really critical issue for us is, you know, fundamentally what we look for is volume of transactions. But when I take a step back and I think about Western Australia, the way we do that is by having really clear population targets for the state and making WA the best place in the world to live and do business. So what we want is to be part of a conversation around how do we attract people to come here? How do we attract businesses to be based here? That's a really important role for the Institute to play. It helps our commercial agents and also our residential sector as well.
Oh, excellent. Sounds good. Excellent. All right. To finish up, do you have a message for real estate professionals and your members out there?
Look, since I started, as I said, I've just had such a wonderful, warm welcome from everybody. And they've been so generous in terms of reaching out, inviting me out to their businesses. And it's one of the things that I love to do as a business advocate, is to go and meet people in their workplace and see, you know, meet their team and see their offices and learn about what their day-to-day life is like, what their challenges are. So I've been able to kind of get around and do a bit of that, but that'll be part of my BAU going forward. So I hope to be able to kind of continue to get out and see them in their shops. But I guess the reason I do that is that my strength in terms of my ability to engage with government and ministers and the public sector relies on that engagement with our membership. And so I just would say to members, please reach out, invite me to your business, call me, email me. I'm accessible, and my ability to lobby for them and to represent their interests is strengthened by that engagement from them, and I appreciate it very much.
Yes. So you basically inviting people to work with you so that you can help them by, you know, giving a word out and understanding them better, and so being able to translate that with the other parties. Exactly.
I think the role of an industry association is as a translator, as you said. It's a translator between the membership and what they're experiencing to government, so that I can kind of understand that, interpret it and explain it to government in terms that they understand. And equally, it's the other way as well. So when there's legislative changes or a new government, it's our role to help translate what that means for our membership. So we can add that insight. So I think that's a really key role that the Institute plays, and something that, you know, I'm kind of quite passionate about. I think that institutes and member associations have a very, very important role to play in making sure that people can get on and do business.
Yeah, all right, no, perfect. Well, thank you for your time.
An absolute pleasure.
Okay, so that was the interview. I'll write an article about it, which will be published at the Property Tribune, and the video will go online as well. If you would like to reach out to Cath, if you have a question, if you would like to connect with her, if you would like to have a discussion, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to facilitate an introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Walter.
Cheers.